Okay, so we're gonna start with the back. You can see again from the front, areas that are very dry, they're all gonna be cut, so it's healthy. So we are gonna compromise on the length and go a little bit shorter, but we're going to also make sure we're creating a beautiful shape. Now, the section underneath here is a lot shorter, as you can see. So we're gonna start with a section a little bit higher. So we're literally gonna take a section with my fingers, if you wanna come around the other side, all right? Take a section with the fingers. We're not gonna use the comb here. We're gonna use our fingers all the way through. This is not something I wanna start brushing out because then it just looks all fluffy and you lose the texture of Maya's natural texture. It starts looking too separated, which I don't want. So we've taken a section like you would with a normal haircut, but using our fingers, okay? And we're gonna start to have a look at where the hair is sitting underneath and where the hair is sitting on top. We want this to be shorter, but we also want to maintain as much length as possible, but make it look healthy. And you can see how dry all the ends are. So we're going to start with working by twisting. And what I'm doing, I'm not coming and cutting straight across. Do not do that. Come across and almost slide it off. So it's being cut in a more natural way. And you're doing this all very visually. And you're starting with a slight elevation. And this will start to now almost make the hair look a lot healthier and give us a shape that's going to blend in with the back. So you're doing it section by section and you're working through so that the ends look so much healthier. And already have a look. I know it's easier than what you would normally do by taking sections and partings, but already we're starting to make the ends look a lot healthier and started to blend in with the underneath area. As you can see, the underneath is very, very short through in there. Okay, so we're going to work section by section. You know, I say this, it's almost like cutting a bonsai tree. That's the kind of approach of approaching this kind of hair. It's more visual, piece by piece, until you're happy with the actual balance on both sides. So we're going to make sure it's balanced on both sides, cut it through here, and we're using each section and using the blades in an angle so it gives us more volume and a balanced shape all in all. Now, with this kind of hair, it's important you constantly move it and shake it and let it breathe, because that's what's going to happen. It's going to move and curly hair will sit differently every day. Like coming from the back, you can see it's slightly longer just around this area through in here. Okay, so we're going to start to go a little bit shorter. By the way, guys, we would love for you guys to ask any questions. Let's keep this informal, it's educational. We're here for you for the next hour. So as I'm cutting and explaining, please don't be afraid to type in where you're from. We'd love to know where you're from. And also any questions that you might have as I begin to explain this haircut step by step. Okay, we're here for you with support and education, and that's what Joico is all about. So I'm gonna just go back in here and go a little bit shorter and then start to work the balance section by section until I'm very happy with the overall visual balance. Now that's pretty cool. I'm happy with that to start off with. And as we get a little bit higher, we're now gonna start to change the elevation. Okay, so we're gonna drop this and let's work with the next section. So I'm just using my fingers through in here to take my section, which is probably about an inch wide. Okay, if you can't see the guideline, maybe take a smaller section, okay? And we're just focusing right now on the back. And that is gonna be twisted and just tucked away. So we can start to see where the underneath is and where the top of the hair is sitting. Now we're gonna start to change the elevation. Gonna do the exact same thing on the other side. And please, Morgan, if there's any questions, I would love to hear what they are, because we're here for them and want to support them as much as we can. Is anyone typing in where they're from? No one yet?
Is it? Go ahead.
It should be all through in here. Okay, maybe, I'm not sure. Actually, just we'll leave it for now. Okay, so as you can see, it's starting to sit on top of the guideline. The hair's, come have a look at here. Look, like to the point where you've just got a few, I don't know if you can see that. There's just like a few pieces of hair that's hanging over. That's how much breakage we have here. But again, I want to maintain as much of the length as possible. Maya wants to grow her hair, but she knows that the solution to making it look healthy is going a little bit shorter just to blend in the breakage with the current hair that she has. Okay, so we're going to go through in here, literally just start to cut the hair section by section. All right, making sure we're following now with a little bit more elevation. Elevation gives us more volume because we want to create a shape. We don't want it all just to be one length. We want there to be volume, so it looks slightly rounded as she begins to style her hair. Okay, by elevating slightly higher, it will give us that added volume that we're aiming for. Okay, so with the section, we're gonna just work it section by section, higher elevation, and as we get higher and higher, we start to elevate the hair, which is beginning to layer the hair. And that's what's gonna, and look, I'm coming on a reverse angle, so it kind of makes the hair look naturally cut rather than just straight across cut. And any little fine ones that you see that are just random, we're just gonna cut it off. And again, let the hair move, let the hair breathe and see what it's doing. I think sometimes we're so focused on one section, we don't allow the hair to move and shake it out so we can see how it's actually gonna sit when she's moving it around and putting her fingers in it. Okay, so we're gonna continue working very visual and maintaining as much length as possible, but at the same time, making sure we have a balance on both sides. This is basically the technique, it's the approach. I know it's different to what you're used to with probably cutting sections, partings, elevation, distribution, but this is the best way I've found to cut this type of hair and for it to grow out really well. But notice what I'm doing. I'm constantly allowing the hair to move and to see exactly how it's beginning to sit. But you can see already how much healthier that looks. It looks so much healthier and it's starting to create a shape for us from the profile. And you'll see that as we get higher and higher, how much nicer that will look. Just come out slightly so we can see the overall balance. Look straight for us, Maya. Okay, that's nice. Maybe just a little bit more in here. Just that little bit more, just to get that perfect balance. Again, let's have a look, standing back. I like this. Gonna now just make sure the bottom is also balanced. Come from the profile. I just want to show you something from the profile. Can you see from the profile now what's happening? It's starting to elevate slightly because what the goal is to get volume and to cut this round all the way through, okay? If you guys are writing any comments, we'd love to see your messages. So can you guys just say hi just to make sure we're seeing that you guys are logged in with us? Because we can't see any of the messages. So if there's any questions, guys, please don't be afraid to ask us because we'd love to hear from you guys. Okay, I'm gonna continue working on Maya's hair, but look at that. That already, for me, Maya, is looking really good. I wanna actually show you the back so you can start to see the difference. And this is what I do with my clients. It's not just how much you know, it's also how much you care. Especially when you're doing something different, especially when you're working on this type of hair, because it's so curly, if you cut that much, it takes so long for it to look long because it spirals. So you've got to be delicate, you've got to be respectful with this type of hair, in fact with all types of hair. But I just want to show you the back, Maya, so you can actually begin to see the difference. Hold that for me already. See how much thicker that looks? I haven't taken it all the way up to the underneath, but at least it's not as fragmented through the bottom anymore. Can you see that? And just look straight for me, so to make sure I'm completely happy. There's like one little piece here that I want to just take the ends off. The mirror never lies, as they say. And just let the hair breathe. Look straight for me. Yeah, nice. Again, always look in the mirror. I think it gives you another angle of what's actually being done. So it gives you a balance from the way you view it and the way it looks in the mirror as well. Okay, you liking that so far?
Yeah.
Cool. And I haven't gone as short as the underneath, but at least it's looking so much more blended. Okay, let's continue. We're going to continue working. I'm working section by section through the sides. So if you want to hold that clip for me, I'm going to just drop this one as well. I'm going to use my finger to section off. You don't need a clip. You don't need to brush the hair out. This type of hair, if you brush it out, it will just start to separate and you won't actually see the natural texture that she normally wears. It will just be too fluffy. So just gently put your fingers in and allow the hair to come through. And then we're just going to twist that away so we can start to see this type of texture. I think a lot of hairdressers generally are afraid to work with textured hair because a lot of us haven't been trained on this type of hair. And I have to admit, I'm one of them. But that's where I've had to learn to cater to all my clients and work with all types of texture, because that's going to only enable me to have a larger portion of clients and have inclusivity with the way we work as hairdressers. And I think that's a challenge that I always put out there, because we've got to cater to everyday people. And some people might have different texture. Like I said in the beginning, we've got to be able to work with all different kinds of material. And hair is material, so this kind of texture is beautiful to work with. And once you understand and you start to work with it, your confidence will grow and you'll be able to actually really enjoy working with this type of hair because it's so fun, it's so creative. It's the creative part because you're just visually working through. Even though I'm being technical, it's more visual because I want to see exactly what's being cut and making sure I'm creating the volume that I'm trying to create as well. So have a look from the front. Let's have a look at that, Maya. So let's see that, it's beautiful. See, we're starting to create this rounded shape just around the very, very, very front. I like twisting it and again, coming on an angle and just cutting the ends off so it's nice and healthy. Let's have a look at that from the mirror. See, we're starting to get that volume. See how it's starting to fluff out? Because of the, if we could just look at it from the front, Morgan. Because of the elevation being slightly higher, as we get higher and higher, the elevation is slightly elevated more and more. That's what gives us this rounded shape, okay? And that's the goal, is to get volume. I don't want just flat and triangle. I actually want volume and movement with this type of hair. So she can just touch it and she's gonna be looking good. And that's why I'm constantly touching it and making sure that, you know, the hair is breathing and it's moving and giving us the shape that we want. And any odd hairs that stick out, we just take them out. So just a little bit here, and it's not going extremely short, it's just doing what's necessary to make this look really healthy. That's really nice. Okay, let's continue on the other side. The good thing is hold these two for me. The good thing is we've styled her hair. So once the haircut is actually done, there's not really too much styling to do because it's already been styled. So it's a matter of working the opposite way for me. In this case, you know, normally you would cut the hair and then style it. In this case, I've literally styled it first and now I'm cutting it. So it kind of saves you time afterwards as well. You're spending the same amount of time, you're just doing it in an opposite manner. Clip. Thank you. Okay. I'm guessing there's no questions coming in because we probably can't read them. No? Huh? Do you think the questions are turned off? Yeah, I don't know. That's fine. Okay, let's keep going. All right, so I'm just gonna elevate a little bit here, make sure all this area here has been cut as well, making sure I'm happy with this side. Now we're gonna continue on this side here. So just a little elevation from the sides, let's have a look. Always make sure your balance on both sides is correct. Balance is everything, guys. You know, visually balanced, technically balanced. It's very, very important that the shapes are balanced because that's what's going to grow out and give you a nice shape as the hair grows out. So I'm constantly looking in the mirror. I'm allowing the hair to be pulled out. This the elevation here is going to be slightly higher. Again, let it breathe and see what's there. I'm liking this. It's looking good, right? Yeah. A little bit of elevation. Shame we don't have the questions coming through. I would have loved to hear from everybody, but anyway, let's keep going. I think we're covering a lot of the step-by-step technique here, and it's looking so much healthier. All right, I'm liking this. Again, let it breathe and see the balance. You can already start to see the balance from the front and from the layers as well. Let's have a look as well from the front. Look straight for me. Your head straight. Yeah, nice. Okay, let's continue. Next section, we're going to take my finger and work it right around and almost like doing a horseshoe section. So we're doing diagonal sections and we're working into horseshoe. And we're going to have a look at how this is sitting now. Look at all the hair that's hanging over. Okay, this is the hair that makes the hair flat through in here and create a triangle. We want to get away from that. We want the volume to be through in here. So how do we do that? We've got to cut the layers shorter. All right, so, but we want to keep a lot of the length. So the elevation is key. So what we do is we start through here and we just start to elevate the hair that little bit higher and work section by section to get the volume that we're looking for. Let's elevate. And this is slowly what we do is we look in the mirror and we start to see the shape that we're creating. So a little bit more elevation. Don't be afraid to twist the ends and then just slide it off. That's much better.
There's someone saying hi from San Diego.
Oh,
Sorry.
we have someone that can write. That's good. Okay, so we have people watching and they can reach us. That's great. Hi guys, thank you for that. We weren't sure if you guys could actually write a message, so I'm glad someone's written that. Okay, so guys, for those who are just joining in now, what we've done with Maya's hair so far is we work backwards. Normally you would cut someone's hair first and then you would style it. In this case, what we've done is we've styled it first, and the products that we used to style it were the combination of the Curl Confidence and the medium styling gel from Joico. We combined these on wet hair, then we diffused the hair, we dried it, and now we're just approaching the hair to how Maya normally wears it. So she wears it with this texture, but she came in with a lot more shorter layers underneath. So we're just going in visually and beginning to work the hair and elevating the hair so we got a lot more volume, but keeping as much length as possible. If you want to come around the back.
We got a question.
Yes,
Ready?
what's the question?
So her hair is beautiful, but if this client wanted to wear her hair straight occasionally as well, how would you approach that?
Very good question. I'm so glad you asked that. In fact, I cut Maya's hair exactly like this the last time she came. So I'd like to actually ask you, Maya, because I've seen that you have blow dried your hair straight. How was it when you blow dried your hair straight?
I think just the layers kind of just rolled over to the straight hair. It looked really good.
Yeah, it was seamless?
It was, yeah, pretty
It was all seamless. That's nice. Because I've cut Maya's hair twice now. And the last time I cut her hair, I approached it like this. So even though I'm picking up the hair and cutting it, it's still very much balanced. You can see that I'm really creating the balance, and I'm doing section by section with slight elevation. So when she blow dried it straight, it just all sat beautifully like a layered haircut. And that's coming from the actual model. Right? Am I right? Yeah? I'll pay you later. No, but it's true. If you go to her Instagram, you'll see that the hair is just beautiful and seamless with this approach. Again, if you take big chunks and take a lot off, you know what? You probably get little steps in the hair. But if you're doing it like me, where you're doing it almost like piece by piece, piece by piece, piece by piece, you're gonna get that seamlessness whether you cut it the way I'm cutting it, sorry, whether you style it curly or whether you style it straight. I'm really liking this. There's just like one little curl here that I just want to like take a little bit more off. There we go. Let me have a look in the mirror. Yes, I love the questions. Thank you for the questions.
How have you styled the hair? Do you diffuse or hood dry?
I diffuse. How do you normally do it? Diffuse. Yeah, I think it's a nice combination of diffusing and being able to let it dry natural. And then when it's completely dry, that's when you kind of put your fingers in it. Don't touch it too much when the hair is wet. So what I used the Babyliss Pro Nano Titanium. This is really light, really powerful, and you can actually put the heat and the speed down. And why that's important is because you don't want to put it on full speed and full heat. You want to put it on half and half, and then work it slowly. Sometimes I use very low speed and half heat, okay? Because the quicker you do it, the frizzier it's gonna become. But the slower you dry the hair, almost like more naturally, the better and less frizzy it will be. So that is such an important question, and it's important you use the right products, you use the right tools, and you actually approach it in the right way. Don't think quick is good, not necessarily. Sometimes taking your time and waiting, are you ready for it? Waiting till the hair is completely dry, then touch it with your hands. Until it's dry, just use the diffuser, okay? Hopefully I answered that. Can I just have a look in the mirror how our hair's looking? All right, that is looking good, loving it. Okay, let's do the next section. So we're gonna, thank you for the questions, please keep them coming. So for those who have just joined, another important point with this hair, I like for me to style it first, okay? Again, it's the opposite. It's breaking a rule because we're used to shampooing, cutting, blow drying, and styling. We're doing something opposite. We're shampooing, we're styling, and then we're cutting, okay? It's a different approach, but then this way I can actually see how the hair normally sits and then cut it bit by bit so that no matter how she wears it, it's gonna sit into this shape. There's gonna be no surprises from going from wet to dry. Okay, next section. I'm gonna just take a section through in here, and I'm gonna also just leave the front out because I wanna start to see how the front is sitting. So this section is almost like a halo section. I'm gonna just from there to there, from the crown. So I'm leaving the front out and I've just gone like a semi-halo. Okay, so let's have a look at the hair. Let's let it breathe. Let's let it move. Let's see what's going on all the way through. And then let's have a look at the front here as well. Because the front we like a little bit shorter, but it's just a little bit broken. So we're gonna just come in here and just trim what's there because we like what's going on here. It's cute. It really, look at the face, beautiful face. So when there's too much hair covering the face, it's not complimentary. When you start taking and put a few shorter pieces in through in here, it starts opening up the face and the cheekbone and you start accentuating the beautiful face that Maya has. That's when you say thank you.
We have a question. Can you just go over again how you prepped before the haircut?
Yes, so we shampooed the hair. We used, which I love using, the Youth Lock because it's got collagen in the hair. Okay, we used the shampoo. We actually used the mask, not the conditioner, because this is heavier and it has much more collagen in it to actually give the hair so much more balance and make it feel a lot healthier. Okay, we used these two to shampoo with and condition. Then what we did is we utilized the gel from Joico, these two products. We applied these two products, the Curl Confidence and the gel. It's a combination of both, and we dried it all in. Once it was dry, then we started cutting, okay? But that's the approach. Once you put these two products in on wet hair, you dry the hair completely until it's fully dry, and we dried it by using the Babyliss Pro Nano Titanium, and we used, let me just show you again, we used half heat and only one speed, so it's not too, you can actually probably use two heat and half speed, and you can even press the eye on because that helps to dry the hair quicker. Okay, once we did that and it was completely dry, we're now just starting to approach the hair section by section. Okay, I kind of explained that a couple of times. I know those that are watching have heard it probably 3 times, but that is the approach. So you're doing it the opposite way. You're not shampooing, cutting and then styling. You're shampooing, styling, and then cutting. Okay, let's continue. So I want to keep working with this haircut and stay on time with my live. Okay, so it's going to go in now section by section. I want to make sure the front is all nice and healthy. You can see the ends that are very stringy, they're the ones that need a good cut, and every time you move it you'll see which ones they are. So it's starting to shape the front. I want to keep this corner here. If I go too far back, I start losing the length, which I don't want to do. Elevation is key, so make sure when you're working your layers you're starting to work a little bit higher, because that's what's going to give you the volume. Otherwise it's all going to be like a one length, and that's what we don't want. So you can see I'm just pulling it straight out, so it starts to give us a more of a rounded shape all the way through. Again, look in the mirror, make sure you're happy with the approach and with the length and with the shape. You're looking for a nice silhouette all the way through. I'm just shaking that. I'm loving the way that's sitting. Can you see that, Maya? It's nice, right? See how the shape now is more rounded, where before it was like triangular? It's because of the layers that we're putting in, and already it's complementing her. And I like how the fact we've taken it a little short around the front, but we've kept the corner through in here. Okay, last section on this side. I'm gonna just drop this through. So you can see this is the last section and it's just hanging over. I'm gonna go in section by section. Look at the elevation. I'm going a lot higher, okay? A lot higher. This is going to give me volume. This is going to give me movement all the way through. Whether she wears it natural or whether she wears it smooth, this works because she had the same technique done last time and she's dried it smooth many times, and it's been nice and seamless. So if you do it small sections and you kind of do it in a way where it's going to be balanced, it will be versatile in terms of the way you style it. I'm just gonna have a look now. Look at that, the volume. I love that. I'm not even accentuating it so much with my hand. It just wants to sit there, just that little bit there. Again, I'm constantly looking in the mirror. I'm gonna just turn you around. If we can just look that way for me. If you can just move slightly as well, sorry, for me. Morgan, just move over a little bit so I can see in the mirror. Look straight for me like that. And always look in the mirror and look at the profile. Make sure that there's no odd pieces hanging out. What you want to create is this volume, is this roundness all the way through, okay? Because the mirror never lies. And I think sometimes when we look at something from one angle, it just gives us one perspective of it. But when looking at it from the mirror, it just gives you another angle that enables you to see it from every angle. And that for me is, look at the difference there. Look how beautiful and full and round that is looking. And it's looking a lot healthier. If you look on the floor, I've actually cut quite a bit of hair off, you know, but it's not about how much you cut off, it's about how much you leave on. So you've got to make sure you know exactly where to cut the hair off and where to leave it on so that you're maintaining as much length as possible, but you're creating this beautiful, voluminous shape. Any questions?
Still just about the prepping it before, but you
I've covered that one, yeah. I think I've covered it. I think people that are watching are like, Richard, we've heard you, man. It's all good, bro.
Diane did say that she loves the curl confidence and she uses it every day.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm so glad and excited and happy that Joico came out with the curl confidence, because it's such a game changer. We really didn't have anything for curly hair, and now we've got not just something, we've got something great for curly hair, and it's very versatile. A few pumps goes a long way, but the important thing is to put it on damp hair. Come around the back for me if you can. I want you to see the difference here. Come and look. So can you see what we've created, how much healthier this shape is here? And if you look at the hair on the other side, you'll notice it's just hanging and very, very dry. That's what gives you the triangular effect, which we're trying to move away from. So when it's too long, what happens? It gives you this triangular effect. We want that to be shorter through in here, so it gives you more of a rounded effect like we have on this side. This volume is what we want to create, and that roundness is the goal here, okay? So we're gonna, if you want to come on maybe on this side, Morgan. So we're gonna pick up the hair, again, piece by piece, and we're gonna elevate the hair. It's expressing feeling and being very, very visual. It's honestly so fun to cut hair like this. So for those that aren't familiar with textured hair, honestly, get a client, get a model, someone who will let you practice on their hair, and just go for it. I think twice, you'll be surprised how easy and how fun it is to cut this type of hair. Okay, the elevation is there. You're constantly looking in the mirror, and do bit by bit. Don't go in too quick and too short, because again, the hair, it's curly. So you want to make sure that it doesn't spiral up too quick, and that's why we're cutting it dry as well. So I can feel it's a little bit longer in here. So you're looking and you're feeling for the balance, okay? And making sure as you elevate, the hair begins to fluff out that little bit more, which in turn gives you the volume that we want to create. Again, looking in the mirror. Look at that, that's beautiful, loving that. Again, I'm feeling the edges, and I feel like just through in here, it's a little bit, this is good, and this is good, and this is good. And that's good as well. You can have a look at that right at the end. A little bit there. And just a touch through in here. I'm just going to soften that. There we go. Just take the ends off. And just a little bit longer in here. And again, let it move, let it breathe, and see what that's doing for you. Have a look in the mirror again. Wow, look at that balance. Can you see that, Maya? Looks great. Can you keep it straight for me? Can you see the hair, the actual silhouette in the camera, Morgan, or is it too transparent?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can?
Yeah.
So you can see how it's starting to now layer up and look more voluminous on both sides. And that's the goal here, just to create that volume all the way through. Okay, let's continue through this section. We're going to do the semi-halo. So we're going to leave some of the front out. Okay, and then take a little bit off the top. So we're doing it section by section. I'm using my finger, guys, very gently detangling the hair. And when you've got the products in like we have, it's a lot easier to detangle the hair with your finger. So make sure you detangle the hair when it's wet, then put the products in, and then begin to scrunch it with your fingers. Okay, so around the front, we like these pieces. Over here, they're quite short. I don't want to really do too much there. We're going to just grow these bits out, maybe just the very ends where the about 3 hairs are, just so it looks less broken. So we want it to look healthy. At Joico, we're all about healthy hair. We're the healthy hair company. So healthy hair is happy hair, and obviously, who wants dry hair? So by making the hair look healthy, by taking the ends off, is not only giving us a beautiful shape, but it's also making the hair just look a lot more vibrant as well. Okay, so coming around the sides, we're going to go a little bit shorter and making sure that we have balance all the way through. Okay, this is the hair that's hanging over. So I just want to make sure by moving this up higher, we've got the layers, we've got the balance, and we've got the shape that we're creating on both sides. Look straight for me, one more time. Again, this little bit here needs to be a little bit higher. Here we go. Love. She's back. She's back. Okay, last section on top. Let's have a look. And then we're going to do some internal layering, but I just want to see how this is going to sit now. Okay, so the very, very, very last section, we're going to elevate slightly even higher. Okay, just make sure that it's all being cut, so it's all nice and healthy. That's nice. Through in here. Look at the elevation, much higher. Section by section, we're just pulling it up and taking the ends off, which is where it's very, very dry. Okay, here as well. You capturing that? And just doing that all the way around and making sure we have balance. People are loving it? Mm-hmm. The volume is looking so good. It's so much healthier. Like I took some before pictures. For those who started, you guys saw how flat and how dry it looked. And now we're making it look so much healthier and creating so much more volume. Look how beautiful this is looking, guys. Look at the volume. It's just, wow. It's lifted up everything about Maya's look right now. And now it's just kind of making sure that we're happy with the balance. It's all about balance now. So picking up hair, making sure that we've got the balance on both sides. And just have a look at the shorter pieces around the front, which I love. And just making it look really healthy. Now I'm gonna turn Maya around so I can see from the profile that the balance is there as well. So just wanna look in the mirror. The mirror never lies. I think we as hairdressers, we don't use the mirror enough. And it's right there in front of us. You know, all salons, as far as I know, have a mirror. So it's very important to utilize the mirror and make sure that the shape that you're creating is balanced from every angle. Because sometimes the mirror gives you an angle that you can't see. And so we always say the mirror never lies. So it's important to have a look from the mirror and make sure that the volume is it. Look at the volume all the way through. We've got rid of this triangular effect by putting more layers in there all the way through. If I can just get the mirror from this side as well. Sorry, Morgan. Again, shaking that. Look at that volume. And I've solved the problem in blending it to the underneath area where it was a lot shorter from the, I guess, breakage that you had. That looks so good. How are you feeling?
I love it. My hair really needed this.
Yes, it did. It really did. And just, again, making sure we got balance. Check both sides. Don't over stretch. Check and make sure you're happy with the balance on both sides, because balance is everything. I think with haircuts, that's really one of the most important factors to any good haircut is creating balance, especially with this type of hair. Because, you know, it's one thing to make the hair look good in the salon. We can all do that as hairdressers. But it's got to be a good haircut, a good color, a good style for it to look good when the actual model or client is at home styling it herself. And that comes to execution and balance. So when you've got good balance in a shape, it's going to be a lot easier for the client to be able to style it at home and for it to look good as well. And products. Don't forget to recommend the products. You know, in this case, we use the Curl Confidence and the gel. You know, they're the products that I actually recommended last time that you took home and you use always. Do you like using, honestly, you use both of these products, right?
Great combination.
You like the combination of both?
Mm-hmm. And I use the oil as well.
And you use the, yes, she uses, I've got it here. And she uses the Blonde Life oil as well. This is the combination of products that we've used on her. The Joico Medium Gel, the Blonde Life oil, and the Curl Confidence. Really, get the camera on here actually. can have a look at all three of them. These are the products I would recommend for hair like this because it gives you the texture, it gives you the shine, and gives you the control that you need. I think I like what we have here. Let's have a look from the front. So now I'll just put my fingers in it, let it breathe. In fact, I love that. It's important we kept the corner here because once you start, let me just say this is important. Once you start rounding off the corner too short, the cut starts looking too short from the front. The fact we've kept the corner through in here, that blends in with the back baseline, is what gives the length from the front. So we've only really taken a few pieces around the very, very front, but all in all, look at this texture, look at this volume that we have in here, which I love, I'm loving a lot. And you know, you could go a little shorter with the layers, but I think this is quite nice. Do you want it shorter with the layers, Maya?
I think it looks good.
Yeah? Do you like the shape?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
I love it, I'm like feeling this.
Okay, I'm feeling myself. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, just gonna go through one more time just to make sure I'm happy with all of it. Let it breathe, make sure that there's no random long bits, and this is why it's very important to keep manipulating, keep touching the hair, because it will speak to you on where it needs to be cut, you know, and making sure that there's a nice balance all the way around and looking at it from the profile, making sure there's no random pieces that need to be cut. Once that's done, I'm gonna put a little product in and start to finish this hair. Again, we styled it before we cut the hair. So there's not much work to do right now because it's already styled. What we do wanna do is maybe just add a little bit of shine to the hair, and by adding the Blonde Life oil. And the separation in here is just beautiful. I'm loving that. Okay, so we're gonna use a little bit of the Blonde Life oil, which is brilliant for glow and shine. I just use 1, 2. All right, it's better to use a little and add a little bit more. And the best way to approach this is by leaning over and just literally scrunching it in. Just scrunch it all the way through. And it'll just give you that added shine. We don't want it greasy, we don't want it crunchy. This hair is exactly how I think curly hair should be styled. It's still soft, but it's controlled. It's not fluffy. It's not like gel in terms of it being crispy. Yes, we have gel in here, and it's given us the control that we have, but we've softened it by using our fingers once the hair was completely dry, just to eliminate that crunch and to create this beautiful volume that we have on Maya's hair. I'm loving this, Maya. Put your hands in, how does it feel?
So fluffy.
Yeah?
Feels so good.
It feels healthier, right? Feels so much healthier.
We got a question.
Yeah.
Do you recommend for her type of hair for lighter color? What do you recommend?
We were talking about this before. I think I love the blonde honey tones that she has because it makes her eyes pop and it gives the hair dimension and contrast. Absolutely. But you've got to be careful when putting bleach on bleach on bleach, or we call it pre-lightener, because you've got to use Defy Damage, okay? We have something called Defy Damage, which protects and strengthens the bonds. Okay, if you don't use that, you will dry the hair. And curly hair that's dry is very hard to make look healthy, okay? Now, I haven't colored her hair, so I'm not gonna comment too much on the color that she's had, but anyone who's using any kind of pre-lightener, let me highly recommend the Joico Defy Damage, step 1 and step 2. It is a game changer and it maintains the integrity of the curl and the integrity of the hair. Okay, so I hope I answered that. But I think, you know, with this type of hair, you can see by, you know, having lighter pieces and darker pieces, it's beautiful. It gives beautiful contrast, you know, it actually looks good. So I'm gonna add a little bit more oil and then gonna finish it off. Any other questions while we're finishing off? No?
Everyone's loving it.
Are they all loving it?
Yes.
Oh, good, 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 good. And it's very simple. Let me encourage you guys. I know there's people watching that aren't used to cutting this type of hair. Just give it a go. There's a saying, you can't steer a parked car. If you're not doing anything or trying, you're not going to improve. So just move direction and maybe start on a friend and start working with this type of hair because it's beautiful hair. It's a beautiful fabric and it's so fun and creative to work on. And look at the result it gives you. And this is, like I said, something that she can wear straight or curly because she's done both, and I've approached it last time and it sits beautiful. Look from the front for me. Look at this beautiful roundness that we have. In fact, you know what I might do, Maya? I might get you to stand up for me if you can. I'm gonna just do a recap so they can see everything, so I can explain everything one more time with what we've created. Come in front of the light if we can. Come here. Yep, just come stand there for me. I'm gonna just grab this light as well. Yep, I think the best thing is here. Okay, perfect. Okay guys, so this is what we've created. It's gorgeous, right? You can see how much it moves, how balanced and how much volume we have. Stay still for a second, Maya. You can see how much volume it has. So it's a lot more rounded through in here, where before it was very triangular. By elevating the hair out, and cutting it, gives us this beautiful rounded shape. Show us the back if you can. Yeah, and look how much healthier that is. We solved the issue of it looking so stringy at the back. If you saw this video from the beginning, you would have noticed it was very transparent and very long through the back. Now I've blended it in with the underneath area and it just moves and it's layered. Look profile for us if you can. Have a look at the profile. See how round and beautiful that is? It just sits nice and rounded all the way through and it has the volume. Straight to me.